Oh yeah, it's double organic.
I'm here meeting my friend Jason to talk about the march to close all slaughterhouses. I don't know, he told me to meet here. Maybe he's running a little late, but I don't know, we'll just wait.
Hi, John.
Oh,
I was just taking a nap in the nice sunny grass.
awesome.
Anyway, you wanted to talk about the march.
Let's talk. So what I want you to do is tell me a little bit about the march. What's its purpose? How long have you been doing it? Kind of give me the who, the what, the why. I figure you're the best person to ask because you're one of the coordinators of the march. And so take it away. Tell us.
Sure, John. So, essentially, the march goes back 5 years. It started in Paris. And there's people there that wanted to fight speciesism. They wanted to tell society that we have to stop seeing other animals, as lower beings, and we have to start seeing them as equals and treating them that way. You know, essentially that's the definition of speciesism, is when we look at other animals and we say, you're a lesser being than me, so I can do with you what I want. So these people formulated the meat abolition movement, and they wanted to do some type of public event where they could demonstrate their desire to shut down all slaughterhouses. Because essentially 95% of all the animals that we exploit on the face of the earth, that's over 1 trillion aquatic animals and over 60 billion land animals every single year we're slaughtering unnecessarily for food, which we don't need to do. And so they figured that as a social justice movement for the animals, the best thing we could do is have the slaughterhouse shut down. Because if you think about it, if you think deeply about it, it's not just meat. A lot of people assume dairy doesn't kill animals. They assume chicken eggs does not kill animals. But all of these industries have to liquidate all of the animals so that because they just wear out. Their bodies wear out, they give out. And so what do? They slaughter them and sell them for meat. So if you think about, if we can shut down slaughtering animals, we can force the industries to stop breeding because they have no way to liquidate the animals. So you shut down meat industry, you shut down egg industry, you shut down dairy industry. All of these industries require slaughtering animals. And so we can do the most good for animals by standing up in society and demanding that we shut these atrocious industries down.
Awesome. All right, so now can you tell me a bit more about the march locally in Toronto and some of the things that were going on there and your involvement?
So the year after Paris did their first march, it reached social media and about 20 cities around the world said, we're going to do this too, including Toronto. And that was 4 years ago. And every year we've been building on it. I came on board in the second year that Toronto did it, and it was growing so much that we needed more people organizing. So I was asked to come in and help out with planning certain aspects of the march. And it's grown. The first year was about 200, and this year we've had about 1,000. So every year it's grown. But the largest growth came from between last year and this year, 2016. And we almost doubled our numbers. So the movement is growing rapidly.
Animal liberation! Animal liberation! Animal liberation! We're all equal! We're all equal!
So with all this rapid growth, I'm sure that there's a lot of awesome stories and moments and interactions that you can tell. So I'd like you to give us your top 3 highlights of the day, and yeah, just let us know all those awesome interactions.
Okay, so some of the most awesome things that happened yesterday in the march was, first of all, the news showed up. For the first time in 4 years, the local media showed up. We had news coverage on CTV, CP24, and City TV News. It was absolutely astounding how many people reached out to us after having seen us on TV. We got such incredible reach to the public. So one of the most amazing things with regards to the media showing up was that when they interviewed people that were participating in the march, that they were delivering a very clear, concise message that it's no longer acceptable for society to exploit animals, and that there's a growing populace within the society around the world that this has to stop. We didn't get any of the normal types of things about just loving animals and being compassionate. Now people are raising the bar and they're saying it's no longer acceptable. So even regardless of if you love animals, whether you hate them or are indifferent to them, there's a sense of justice that has to be delivered to non-human persons. So this is a turning point in the animal rights movement, where we're no longer saying that you only have to step up the bar if you love animals. Even regardless of what your opinion of non-human animals is that you have to be respectful to them and you have to be just.
Stop discrimination! Meat abolition! Meat abolition! Meat abolition! Humans and animals, we're all equal! Humans and animals, we're all equal!
So another aspect of the march that was absolutely amazing to see, there was a couple of times during the march when the whole crowd stopped chanting and they just started cheering. Now I was at the front managing the audio system and drumming, but I didn't know what it was all about until after. There was some photos that started streaming on social media showing like a woman and her 2 kids standing on the sidewalk, and then they fell in love with our movement and with our message, and they actually joined the march and followed it all the way, the whole rest of the march, right down to where we had our memorial service after the march. And at that point they stayed, they joined the mission and they were part of it. And that kind of tells me a couple of things. It tells me that our message is something that is easily acceptable to the rest of society. And it says also to me that we can grow on the spot and we don't have to placate society. We don't have to dumb down our message. We don't have to tell them to go vegan. We just have to say enough is enough and animals deserve their liberation. So that was very powerful, and it was very inspiring to everybody that saw that happen, and that's why people were cheering.
Humans and animals, we're all equal! Humans and animals, we're all equal! We're all equal! No more oppression, animal liberation. No more oppression. No more oppression. No more oppression. Freedom for all, justice for animals, freedom for all. Justice for animals.
In Toronto, we started the march at Christie Pitts Park, and we walked east on Bloor and south on Yonge Street. These are 2 of the highest populated streets in all of Toronto, and we probably were visible to probably about 30,000 people during the course of the march. It ended in Allen Gardens right downtown, and that's where we had a memorial service. That was approximately a 6-kilometer walk, and it was a very hot day, and everybody, I don't know of anybody that had to quit because they were too exhausted, but we did provide a vehicle for people to get respite from the heat. We had watering stations along the route. we took a lot of time and consideration into making sure that everybody could participate regardless of their means and abilities. So the march is a very functional march. It's a social justice movement, but we're also inclusive to make sure that everybody has access to it. There were parents out there pulling kids in wagons. There were parents out there carrying kids in carriers right on their chest or on their back. And this year I've never seen more kids than ever before at the march, which is absolutely incredible because they're the future of our movement. And they're the ones that are going to carry the torch to make sure that animals get their liberation.
Awesome. Now, what if someone wants to get active? How can they participate? Who do they get in contact with? And what if there's nothing going on in their own city?
The best thing to do if you're local in the GTA or in Ontario is to join our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group, Toronto March to Close Down All Slaughterhouses. We have a community page as well. And if you want to participate, the best thing to do is just be on those pages and monitor them. The march happens every June, usually the second weekend of June. So plan on that weekend, that period of time to make sure you have that day off. It's a one-day event. So that's the best way you can participate. The other way you can participate is by getting other people to come. Come around March, we start pushing social media pretty heavily. We'll have our event page up, join our event page, and then also share it and get people to come. That's how we're going to get growth in the movement, and that's how we're going to share the message with the rest of the world. The media is on side, the people are on side, and the community, the animal rights community, are all on side with this event. The growth is also incredible because right after the march, I started getting comments from people that are in Vancouver who want to organize. I've got a gentleman who stepped forward and said, I can get about 10,000 people marching in Mexico. He said, veganism is on the incredible increase in Mexico. I've also, just before the march, a lady contacted me from India, part of the organization of India Against Speciesism. They've already organized 16 marches in 16 cities against speciesism in India alone. And so therefore they said, we've really come to know about your march a little too late, but next year we want to organize these 16 different cities to collaborate with the March to Close Down All Slaughterhouses. So there's exponential growth coming for next year, maybe even doubling or tripling the number of cities. The growth in America is incredible too. There's a lot of people interested in starting their own marches. And that's my next point. If you are an animal rights supporter and you want to be on board, the March to Close Down All Slaughterhouses out of Toronto, if you just join our group, let us know who you are. We're going to be devising some packages in the fall that we can send out to people, and we will help you upstart your own march within the cities that don't have marches. We want this to go super big, super fast, and we want it to be a global event. We want everybody in society to know that this is happening every single year and that they have to get on board. And the only way we're going to do that is by getting small groups of people getting together, organizing, putting the word out, and social media can help you build that, and so will the Toronto organizers. We will help you get your march up and running.
Awesome, thanks so much. Any closing remarks?
Just get out there, find support a march near you, and be active. The march is only a one-day event, but it's not enough. We have to be out in society agitating and disrupting speciesism everywhere that we can, within your social circles. Don't let anything slide. If you see something happening and it makes you feel uncomfortable, if you hear people using language that's discriminatory against non-human animals, make sure you say something, because that's disruption. It doesn't have to be big, massive or organized marches or rallies or protests. It happens in the way we correct people's language. It's in the way we use our own language, and it's in our social circles. So If you're at a party and people are talking about animals in a derogatory or in a insensitive way that demeans them, say something. It doesn't have to be mean or angry, but just be part of the solution and change the society and the social dynamics wherever you are.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jason. March
No problem,
on.
John. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh yeah, it's double organic. Did you know I offer raw food coaching? Comment, like, share, and subscribe. Got epic recipes, fitness, and raw food motivation. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Whoa, look at all those recipes. Those look tasty. Give me some of that. I'm proud to announce the release of my free raw recipe app. Do you want over 100 original raw food recipes in the palm of your hand? Click the links to download or search Double Organic on your phone.